Last Christmas, you gave me
I gave you a bird.
Yeah! Give me a bird!
Bring me my bird.
Bring me the Christmas bird. I want my bird.
Bring me my bird.
I want my Christmas bird.
Blue.
Blah, blah, blah. Why are we Russian and Transylvanian? Hi! Welcome back to Doctor Who Review. I'm Chris.
Hi, I'm not Chris.
And we're like in the background because look what's in the background of the video podcast thing.
It's actually way past Christmas.
It is. Well, yeah, we're recording this on January the 4th, 2023. We didn't just get the Christmas tree out for this review. And would it be worth it anyway? Well, it's time to find out. Last Christmas, a story I have not watched since broadcast in 2014. Had you seen this one at all?
I remember old Clara, so I must have watched it.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah.
That or Jenna Coleman's Dorian Gray, and you smash the portrait up in front of her and watched her age or something.
Well, yeah, should.
She asked you to do it because she asked you to do it because she wanted to play Victoria in the ITV drama in the flash forward scenes.
Hold on, you said a Victoria.
Victoria. She just wanted to play a Victoria.
I thought that's what you said. Just Eddie Victoria.
As usual, if you're watching this, we assume you've watched the episode. So, yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this.
Did you really?
Yeah. I don't think it's brilliant. I think there are some gaping holes, Your Honour. But I didn't hate it. The dream logic is kind of... It's both a getaway... Sorry, a get out of jail free card and a creative playground, if that makes any sense. Like, in regards to the episode, it created some wonderful, like, wibbly wobbly, dreamy weemy sequences that, you know, like the stuff with the textbooks in particular is brilliant, and the slow realization that the 4 crew members who have already been crabbed are the 4 crew members who are also there is really cool. Like, I like when they start to realize, like, no, that's you. That's what you look like outside of this right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's great.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
The fact that it relies on your dreams because it's your brain.
Drowned
I just gargled, yeah. Because your brain's getting affected, so it's your dreams, so that even the Danny Pink that's just a dream is the Danny Pink Clara would want to be around and the Danny Pink she knew. So once he's like, yeah, no, you need to wake up, he means it. Like, it's her brain encouraging her, no, seriously, you're in danger, wake up. But the fact that it's completely in character, like the fantasy that's created to sort of just keep you sleeping while they eat your brain, is disrupted because it's Danny Pink, who is like, oh, it's eating your brain. No, I love you and I want you to live. So come on, like, wake up.
Shut up. Don't.
Oh, I hate the fact she tells him to shut up again.
Man.
Oh, she treats him like shit. It's so weird. Moffat's got some weird ideas of what love is.
Do you think he knows?
I don't think he does.
Oh, that's shit. Anyway.
Anywho. But yes, what else? What the deuce else? Yeah, let's have some of your initial thoughts. Because this isn't Christmas Carol, Christmas Invasion. It's not Voyage of the Damned, but it was fine. It was a fun way to spend 50 minutes, or however long it is, hour and change.
I thought it was boring.
You did.
I thought it was really.
You did.
boring.
I remember when it finished. I was like, "What do you think?" You went.
It kept making me think of different episodes. So it was making me think of. We were talking about this. Which one is it? Where they're in the. I'm sure they're in the Arctic or something.
You were describing it, and eventually we figured out what you meant was Asylum of the Daleks. It's the bit where Amy and the Doctor are in the cockpit full of all the corpses.
No, that's not what I mean.
Well, that was one thing.
No, I'm sure it was with Clara.
Yeah, Oswin's in that story. Jenna Coleman's in it.
But she goes, "Oh yeah, no, you might be right actually."
Yeah, we figured this out the other night when we watched it.
It felt like I was watching that one, but like a worse version of it.
Okay.
I thought Clara was really annoying in it. I thought the Doctor was actually really good. I thought Peter Capaldi was actually really good in it.
Yeah, this is my favourite 12th Doctor performance so far. I really liked how he was. Like, he was grumpy and fussy and blustery out of habit, but also necessity to keep everyone alive, and it was...
Oh yeah, I did
You
write
did make
notes.
some notes.
Oh my
Okay.
god, no way.
And I think that we learn a few more things about the 12th Doctor in this. We learn that he basically is sexually attracted to anyone who's Scottish.
Yeah, I like that it's like the more older ladies.
Bellows, yeah.
Not old ladies, but
No, but like, yeah,
older.
He flirts a little bit more with older women.
Yeah.
In a way where it's like, it's shocking how it's appropriate because of how little the appropriateness of that appears in media.
Yeah. Exactly.
Excuse me. The crew of Ashley Bellows and Professor Albert, played by Natalie Gumede, Maureen Beatty, and Michael Troughton, respectively. We've got another Troughton kid back. Hey! He's come back. When was Michael Troughton in it last? I'll look that up. But they were great. But the standout of this entire thing is Faye Marsay as Shona. Shona is just a great performance that is not in it a lot.
Yeah.
But what she does and what she gets to play with, you go, God, she's good. Can she be in this more? And we've learnt since that she was meant to be in it more.
I'm going to be honest with you. I thought she was dead annoying.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised by that.
There were some bits that made me just like think of Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah, there was sort of that DNA, the Sheffieldy kind of vibe. Yeah,
like the non-annoying bits was making me think of Jodie Whittaker, but I don't know. I just thought this whole episode was just bizarre.
Oh, Michael's not been in it before by this point. I think Ali's done Big Finish, but well, we now know, and I'm spouting this to the choir. Shona was intended to be a potential companion for the next series.
Yeah.
But that was reversed, and we'll get to that a bit later. We've got Wolf and Ian, the two elves, played by Nathan McCullen and Dan Starkey, respectively.
Are they quite little?
Dan's a short. I mean, Dan, you've seen Dan stood up next to other cast members repeatedly through this.
Yeah.
He's a shorter guy, and I'm assuming then that Nathan McMullen is as well. But sort of, they're kind of annoying, but then the plot goes, yeah, they're meant to be.
Yeah.
And you go, right, in that case, mission accomplished. Well done. And they do get a few genuinely good singers in there as well. They're, of course, accompanied by their boss, Santa Claus.
Nick Frost.
Played by Nick Frost, who, one of the best performance choices in this was at the beginning. When he's on the roof, and he's trying to downplay that he's Father Christmas to sort of distract Clara and send her back downstairs by putting on a Father Christmas voice. It's like, what? What are you doing? But it's the right level of stupid. Like, it's just so well pitched because obviously he plays the rest of it more akin to himself, like his accent, his delivery, which is a great subversion. And made even more of a fun decision when you realise that he's not real. He's the collected consciousness of all the people who are in the dream state, creating someone to protect them in the dream. And it's Christmas Eve, so they've all just naturally gravitated toward subconsciously bringing Father Christmas into the hallucination.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's a great idea. The dream crab idea you can have a lot of fun with, and I get it. Like, it's a really daunting, creepy, non-Christmas Day idea of, oh, they're having it's a dream sequence episode. Yeah, and they've got to wake up because as they're dreaming, something is drilling into their lobe and sucking their brain out as juice. You're like, oh. And there's that explanation during it that, like, no, it's been a few minutes for you, but, like, you know, you've been out. No, it's been like hours for you, but you've been out like 2 minutes in the real world. Time's thrown off. We need to be quick. So the fact that the whole collective dream takes place over several hours is like maybe 20 seconds in real life. I don't think it ever fully explains why the crabs randomly end up in different houses. Like, it alludes to the fact that the Doctor picked one up by accident or whatever. And that's why one targeted Clara. But, like, what about these four other random people?
Really random.
One of whom doesn't survive. And then Moffat gets lost in the flexibility of the idea when he has it be that, like, hang on, that's kind of like, the whole setting's kind of like The Thing.
Yeah.
Or in this case, they reference directly The Thing from Another World. Either way, who goes there is the reference. Like, Arctic base, monster, the snow.
Yeah.
So they reference The Thing, and there's constant who you're going to call references, but that never pays off. Ghostbusters is not on the movie list at the end.
Weird. Which
is weird, because it's like you make who you're going to call like references like 3 times, I think.
Weird.
Chuck that one in there. Like, the Thrones marathon means nothing other than Game of Thrones was popular at the time, so it was a little reference, which is then painfully over-egged throughout the marketing for this series because of Maisie Williams' involvement in the series. They kept listing, I mean, for God's sake, in this box set, the little booklet, Peter Capaldi returns as the Doctor alongside Jenna Coleman and guests including Game of Thrones Maisie Williams. It's just like, Jesus, this series rode the penis of Game of Thrones so much. It was weird. So much so that its reference in this Christmas special, when I first saw it, was like, oh, we're actually watching Game of Thrones. That's a fun reference. That's a thing that's happening everywhere right now. But on reflection, it was a warning of like how they're going to keep referencing it throughout the series.
The Game of Thrones curse.
No.
Some people have escaped it.
Looks like Paul Kay is in the third and fourth episodes. We know him, Dennis Pennis, but we know him best as Mr. Wormwood from Matilda when we saw it originally and everything. Like, he's in part 3 sort of and part 4 of the series. They don't go around going, Game of Thrones is Paul Kay, because he was in Game of Thrones as well, wasn't he? He showed up. He was one of the sort of stock bucket of 200 British actors that they like put in it on a loop until eventually they ran out and they brought Kevin Eldon back as a different part. Which was really weird.
That was weird.
But yeah, it falls apart when you realise that Alien is on a movie marathon, which is meant to be like so the face crabs, they're a reference, because they mention it earlier, don't they? Like Alien, and the Doctor's like, oh, no, they made a horror film called Alien. No wonder people don't like your planet.
That's offensive.
It's like, yeah, I know the animations aren't necessarily canon, but in Dreamland there's a whole recurring thing about Alien and Aliens being the 10th Doctor's favourite movies. So, okay, whatever. Again, not important. This is a cartoon spin-off, but still, it's like...
No way he wouldn't know about Alien.
Maybe the 12th Doctor's just forgotten it. Your DNA gets rewritten. Maybe he just forgot it existed. I don't know. Point is, they lampshade the fact that this is kind of like an Alien, isn't it? It's like, yeah. And then it's on the movie list. Alien. What a weird Christmas Day movie list.
I was just going to say that. That's
Alien.
a very weird...
Alien, not The Thing. The Thing from Another World. So the 50s movie's the one she's going for. Not the 80s one, from sort of the same era as Alien and Aliens. Thrones Marathon, and then Forgive Dave, which I love. I do love that because that's just such a. We don't need to know what that is, and it builds a lot about who she is and what she's going through and why she's briefly being visited by Dad on Christmas, but is mostly sat in a really messy flat, like eating takeout leftovers, and it's like, okay, what's going on? But yeah, it's there's. If she's thinking about Alien, because it's on a movie list, that implies the face crabs are referencing the face huggers.
Yeah.
Because Alien is on her mind. Except the face crabs are real. So, no. And then again, you could argue, well, maybe they're all still in the dream and whatever. No, like, the Doctor and Clara then stick in a dream state for one more layer, which confuses and muddles things even more when you think about it.
It's stupid.
Because it's like, did everyone actually wake up? It's like, yes, I guess everyone else did actually wake up, but these two thought they did. Yeah. I like the sleigh ride. I don't hate the sleigh ride. It's not as cheesy as I remember it being. By the time it happened, I was like, no, good. Let's watch him be a big kid for just a couple minutes, because he's like, either I'm about to die or wake up. Either way, yeah, all right, let me have a go. Like, sure, I liked that. It was cute. It was like, yay, the grumpy doctor's now starting to lighten up a little bit. Now that he's not worrying whether he's a good man and all that shit anymore. He's just being a bit more himself, although that's about to cack the bed in the next episode.
I was just going to say, it makes me laugh that one of the first things you said about this episode, whoopsie, was
Whoopsie doodles.
was that there are holes in it. There's lots of holes in it. It's just a giant hole. It was, I don't know, I lost interest, if I'm honest. There was just so many, oh, this is the thing. Oh no, it's a dream. That's the thing. Oh, it's a dream. I think they did it too many times.
Yeah.
To the point where it's not like, oh no.
How many years out from Inception was this?
It's,
2, 3?
This is boring now. It got to the point where I was like, I don't care if this is a dream sequence.
Do you know what else it was a little too similar to as well, on reflection? Amy's Choice.
I was just going to say that.
Which obviously the point of that is, you're in two places, one of them's real, one of them isn't. Good luck.
Yeah.
Like, that works well. And then obviously the twist being, neither of them are real.
Yeah.
But also the reveal of, what did it? Oh, it's just a random, like, it's a spore, it's a thing that got into the TARDIS and caused it to happen. It created a villain, like, within its thing, but the Dream Lord's not necessarily a real physical threat. It's something that was created in the Doctor's head.
Yeah.
And this is the same. It's like, the things that try to kill them are all created in their head, and at the end it's like, oh, I just must have accidentally picked up one of these things. It must have got me. Well, we see it. It got him at the edge of a volcano or whatever. Hang on, but even then he doesn't wake up. Like, they're in one more layer, aren't they?
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second, but
It doesn't
go
make
on.
Any sense.
Hit your notes.
Hit the notes.
Hit those notes, baby.
Are we ready? Last Christmas.
I gave you my
in a jar and then it attached to my face.
Oh no! That prop looked amazing. The set work and everything looked great.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And the way that they kind of gooped from the ceiling looked amazing. And the edit being so vague that it doesn't really give away that, they were got in that scene. It's not too obvious it happened. It's nice.
The bit with Clara under the table, she's trying to distract herself.
That was amazing.
That was good, and she had a really good scream as well. I do appreciate a good horror scream.
It felt like we were in... I mean, obviously having a Troughton there helps, but like that scene, it felt like that could have been like Victoria or Zoe. Like it felt like a scene from a Troughton story.
Oh, Zoe would have just been like, oh.
No, but you know what I mean? It felt like there would have been a scene it would have been a scene from a Troughton story. Like,
and she just spun round with a sparkly bubble.
Yes, she would. But like it felt like something out of that era, that moment.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously a big chunk of the story feels like that. It's like 3 rooms, and they're constantly cycling between them because they're stuck in one build. It's the base under siege structure.
Yeah.
But maybe the base under siege was the friends we made along the Weege. Please read your notes, sir.
I miss snow.
Yeah, we got it briefly in mid-December, didn't we? That was it.
But it just... The idea of snow at Christmas has completely disappeared. Like, there are kids now, there are adults now that would have never had a snowy Christmas.
I can, off the top of my head, I could name, like, the 4 times during my life, so yours too, where, like, oh yeah, there was snow on Christmas Day. Either because it was left over from the night before when it was cold, or because it snowed a bit during the day.
I remember proper snow when we were little.
Yeah, it was more prevalent kind of the week between Christmas and New Year. There was always like a...
There was proper snow.
A few years back when we had that random bout of it in March.
Yeah.
For like a week. It was like, what is happening?
Like, this is so random.
Yeah.
I guess she moved out of her flat on a teacher's salary.
Yeah, Clara suddenly in a giant house. And yet the bedroom... not the bedroom, the living room, one wall of it is exactly the same as the shelf wall in her flat.
So we were like, is this part of her dream?
A flat which looks completely different from the one she was in Time of the Doctor when she had everyone around for Christmas.
We were like, is it part of the dream? But then in the end, she was back in
that house.
I was like, what the hell is going on?
How did the Doctor know to go to that house?
What the hell is happening? Nick Frost looks great. I thought he looked great as Father Christmas.
Yeah.
If they did like a live version of, excuse me,
Raymond Briggs' Father Christmas,
like Arthur Christmas or something.
Oh, all right. I was thinking about another blooming Christmas. Like you could totally put him in that, and it would suit.
He just
really
really
have to do a live action The Snowman to go with it, so you could have the little crossover scene. The Raymond Briggs cinematic universe. That used to freak me out as a kid. Like, watching the snowman after having watched, like, Father Christmas. And then be like, that's the same Father Christmas from that one. What?
It's canon!
It freaked me out. It was like, what is this?
The animation style's anyway.
The scene in her hallway was really good with the chalkboard.
Yeah.
That was freaky.
It was freaky.
Really well played. Nice dream logic. Although at no point did they play on the dream idea of dialogue and text not being readable in a dream. It was very much readable in this.
Yeah.
But then, but then you had the whole thing with the 4 different words on the same page, which was a really fun concept.
Yeah.
And then the second layer, it was like, very. What does yours say? Very. What does yours say? Very. What about yours? Dead. And it's like, okay, that's creepy. Like, that's genuinely creepy. There's some good moments in this. There really is.
What is with Clara telling people to shut up?
Yep, hate that.
Lights being on in the windows on the roof would imply people are awake. Are they not confused by the conversations on the roof?
Yeah, follow-up question. Is she living in an apartment in a big building?
In a house, yeah.
Or is it her house?
Who knows?
And if so, why is it so big? And where are whose lights are those? She was asleep.
Capaldi looks very attractive.
Now that, Capaldi's a handsome guy. He's got a very kind of stern, handsome face. And his smile can either be kind of creepy or quite
warm.
Yeah. And it all depends on how he's utilising it. The power of his attractiveness is locked behind short, boring hair.
Yeah.
And now that his hair's starting to fluff, he looks handsome as feck. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair...
here we are. This is the debut in these reviews of the proper sculpted action figure of him, instead of that weird, crow version that it was for the Series 8 release.
To be fair, I really fancied him in the thick of it.
You did, but that was
understand myself.
That was the aggression and the passion, wasn't
I know. I bet he'd be filthy, but anyway.
it? Malcolm, fucker.
I'm going back on what I said. I've written here, Shona is hilarious.
Yeah.
So maybe I did like her, and I've just...
You did when we watched it.
Yeah. So okay, I take it back. She's hilarious. I'm trusting past Lucy.
The one who watched it. Not the one who's had a hell of a week since. You think you had a bad time this week? Wait till we start Series 9.
I wrote Alien much.
Yeah.
And then
they
revealed it. I was like, oh, okay. Because I think we were complaining a little bit about it, and then that happened, and we were like, oh, okay.
Well, when they're doing the whole... No, because I was going oh, yeah, knowing. I remembered it.
Oh, okay.
So I was trying to give it away.
You were leading me on.
But I remembered I hadn't remembered the bit where they kind of part around the face. I was like, why are they doing that? And on reflection, it's because they wanted to narratively tease the faces underneath and give. I
guess that's a dream version of it.
But it's also to give the audience, some audience members, the slight clue. If you're really good with faces and you just see that middle bit of one of the faces, you'd be
you
like,
have to be really good at that.
Yeah, it's only very fleeting, but yeah.
What else?
I don't know. What else?
Slapping again.
Yeah, she loves to slap him.
I can't remember who she didn't slap the doctor. I think she slapped somebody else.
No, she slapped the doctor.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, because he made an implication that Danny Pink was cheating on her to try and get her out of her head in that moment and give her something horrible to focus on.
Yeah.
And she slaps him.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
And he's like, I was only joking. She's like, no, he's dead. I'm angry because he's gone.
How is the doctor supposed to know Danny is dead when they made a big deal about Clara lying in the last episode?
Yes. Perfectly put. So, she seems aghast that he hasn't figured it out.
How could he possibly
when the
figure
last
it out?
episode ended with her playing off of his kind of absent-mindedness with social stuff, social cues, to make sure he doesn't find out Danny's dead. They both leave the end of last series believing the other one has got something they want.
Yeah.
Clara's got a life with Danny. The Doctor has found Gallifrey.
Yeah.
And both of them are a lie. And yeah, it's just very the fact she's mad about it, mad at him about it, is no, hang on, you put him in that situation. You put him in a place where he doesn't think Danny's dead. Mm-hmm. You left it at that. Yeah, it's weird. And again, people will justify, they're a bit destructive toward each other, and that's kind of the point, because Missy put them together. It's but how did Missy know it would play out? Missy put them together when he was a different person.
Yeah.
Like, how does that even... But also, Series 9 will delve into the idea of, well, no, you're meant to be worried about their relationship and how, like, dangerous it can be that they're in a friendship, because we'll get into all that. I'm not saying anymore, but you'll be doing the same thing I do for the rest of the series.
Okay.
I
also wrote bad CGI slinkies. They look terrible.
Yeah. Whereas, like, the actual practical props, like the toy robots, look great.
It made me think of Birdemic. That bad at CGI.
Wow.
And also, that reindeer's legs are very short.
They were. I'm surprised that wasn't a reference to something.
It probably make sense.
But, yeah.
It looked a bit freakish.
Another good thing before I forget, Samuel Anderson, again, being brilliant. Danny Pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, being brilliant in his, like, couple scenes. You're like, God, I'm really sad he's not in this anymore. Because he's very good. He's got a lovely presence about him. And she doesn't slap him every 5 seconds. So.
Oh, Jesus. Yikes. Well, that's what I thought of it.
Well, she only knows.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the ending gefunt in the room? So, the doctor's like, oh, I'll go to Clara. And actually, for her, a lot of time has passed since they last saw each other.
Oh, yeah.
And she's old. We calculated it. She's somewhere in her 80s. It's been 60-odd years, she says. And she led one hell of a life. There's a little tiny callback to the bells of St. John, where they were on the plane, and he's like, can you pilot this? You know how to fly a plane? She's like, what? No. And he's sort of like, oh, right. And she mentions that she's learnt how to fly. She got a pilot's license. Yeah. And it's like, we didn't catch that. It was afterwards. I was just sort of looking up a few bits and pieces about the episode. Saw it mentioned and was like, oh, yeah, I guess it's meant to be a callback, but it's just...
not obvious.
Yeah, like, stuff's happened since then, and it wasn't a particularly memorable quip in the original.
Mm.
It was just a funny little aside. It's not like the Factories of Villengard thing that Moffat does to bookend his writing on the show, but we'll get to that in a series in a bit. We'll get to that 3 more Christmas specials from now.
Oh.
Yeah. Because after this series, we get 2 Christmas specials and then another series. Because there was a year without any Who, but there was something else, which we're going to have to talk about. So yeah, Clara's old, and they kind of like make peace with each other, finally. You okay?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Next door.
Okay. Do they understand what's happening?
No, sorry, I was just looking at it.
Sorry, I know, but you completely stopped dead asking a question.
Sorry.
She's like... We're curtain twitchers. Yeah. We're one of those couples. So much so that even on a filming date...
I'm just hoping they're okay.
Well, they should be okay. Oh no, they've got face crabbed.
Oh no.
So... She's old, and there's this beautiful little... like, more obvious callback when they go to pull a cracker and she can't quite do it, and he holds her hand and helps her pull the cracker.
Yeah.
And it's beautifully done because obviously it's a parallel to him at what they thought was going to be the end of his life on Trenzalore.
Yeah.
In the town of Christmas.
Yeah.
And again, that feels like a proper bookend that makes sense because it was only a year prior to this that happened. People will be thinking about it. They'll be able to connect that because it was last Christmas. Last Christmas, there was that scene of her helping an elderly doctor pull the cracker. And here we are a Christmas later, and it's the same, but Clara's now the old one who can't pull it. And you've got the older doctor who was the one helping her, and it's like, this is so sweet.
Yeah.
It's such a lovely little moment. What a great exit for Clara's character.
I didn't realise that it was a throwback to that until you said it, and then I was like, oh my god, that's actually dead cute.
To be fair, we haven't watched the Christmas one, the prior Christmas one, for like, it was a few months because we went on holiday and stuff, so there's a big gap.
So is this...
This is 1 year later.
Is this Capaldi's first series?
Yeah. No, the one we just watched, this first series. This Christmas special was on about 4 weeks after the end of the series.
Yeah, so...
Which is also weird because the way Doctor and Clara and it's all set up is to be sort of like, oh, they're back together, everyone! And it's like, they were together literally a few weeks ago on Saturday tea time.
But we thought that was weird.
Like, it doesn't work. But it feels like a beautiful kind of bookend, like a button. The same way that Christmas Invasion kind of feels like it belongs to Series 1, even though it's the start of David Tennant's era.
Yeah.
It sort of feels like a button to Series 1, like you enjoyed the series, and here's one last portion. This kind of feels like that to Series 8. The trouble is, it's not her last story. Because during production, Jenna Coleman changed her mind and asked to stay longer, and they had to add in the last-minute bonus level, because you get a bit more Santa, don't you? Be like, oh, you're still dreaming, wake up. And she's young, and I guess the idea is meant to be because she was older and she felt like that briefly. Well, the idea of a life like not spent going on adventures and stuff.
Yeah.
That she's like, no, come on, let's do it. And the way Capaldi and Coleman play it is lovely. Like the way they play the whole like, do you mean it? She's like, yeah, let's go. Right down to Clara doing something that Clara doesn't do prior to this that I have wanted her to be like, which is she literally just like grabs her slippers and they leg it.
Yeah, she's still in a jam.
It's very much like this magical machine shows up in your life and offers you the universe. You don't go, pick me up next Wednesday. I'll think about it. You go like, let's go. Because it's what anyone watching the show would do. You'd be like, pick up my toothbrush. And you'd be like, we've got toothbrushes. It's fine.
We've got teeth.
Come on in. And then, again, just for the kids watching at home, that lovely little tease of the Satsuma implying that maybe Santa has also been the real Santa's been keeping an eye on everything. And it's like, cool, because we've had allusions to Santa existing in the Moffat era. Like, there's a photo of the Doctor partying with him at a do in Christmas Carol. He shows like the kid, like him, Santa, and is it Nixon or someone? No, it can't be, because no, never mind. Point is, it's like, yep, there's me and Santa. But then the Ninth Doctor has also proven that he was Santa, maybe?
Well, the picture was...
That's throwaway jokes, I know, but still.
That could be like a mall Santa.
How dare you?
How dare I?
And I don't mind, it's Christmas. Like, the idea at the end of it being the reason Father Christmas was shown up in Doctor Who is because everyone's imagination stuck in this dream state has conjured Father Christmas to save them is perfect. It works brilliantly.
It's quite funny, really.
And the fact that the three who survived it, because obviously one of them didn't, the three who survived it will wake up thinking they've just had a really weird dream. Because, as far as they know, they did. Except for Shona, who very brief... is it Shona? No, it's not Shona. One of them sees the crab, don't they, and they freak out.
Yeah, it's Shona, isn't it?
No, it's Ashley. Isn't it Ashley? She's like, sees it in her bed, she's like, ah! She just freaks out on
it just like turns to...
And it's like, yeah, you would, wouldn't you? What the hell was that? Whereas the other two don't notice it at all.
The older lady, she woke up and she's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Like,
she had that kind of... It's like a grandchild or someone's asking her to come into the other room, whatever. And for her, she's just dozed off.
Yeah.
And she has that kind of slightly melancholic thing as she wakes up, and you feel like she's just woken up from... Even though it's a horrid experience, it ended with her riding in a sleigh, and also she was walking and running and all that sort of stuff. So, again, there's lovely touches in this. There's really lovely touches from the performance and the script, but... It's weird to be like, who is Clara? She's a mystery. We figured it out. And now she's the quintessential companion for the 50th anniversary, and she's going to wrap up the 11th Doctor's era in style by his side. And now she hates the Doctor because she's not used to him regenerating, even though she's just hung out with a bunch of him 2 adventures ago. Oh, it's alright, she's worked it out now, because really what was upsetting her is that it wasn't her boyfriend anymore, because apparently that's what she felt the relationship was. And now she's going to have a boyfriend and sort of treat him weirdly and keep both him and the Doctor at a distance and make it all about appointments and regimentation. And then she's going to lose her boyfriend and try to destroy her best friend's home and livelihood instead of just talking to him about finding a solution. and maybe changing how things
I'm
went.
really hung up on
I hate that so much. and then and then she lives a peaceful life where she's happy. She talks about like he says she never found someone else, and she went, there was someone, but it wouldn't have worked out. The implication being it was only ever Danny and you.
Yeah.
And you know that's not going to happen. But she seems happy. Like, she seems like she had an amazing life and she loved it. And then to go, psych, it's a dream. Go on, back in the TARDIS with you. And for the next series to be all, you two are not good for each other, being the core theme story. After, like, this, I don't know. This is where I check out of the Clara Oswald train. This is where I'm like, I'm done, I'm getting off of this platform. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Goodbye, I wave. But I liked Last Christmas. Yeah. It's like a nice, perfect kind of 3-star affair. Just did its job, did it well. Some nonsense in there, but it's Christmas Day. It's Christmas Day. It's Mike and General's Day. You know.
If it weren't for
Reese is in this series, funnily enough.
No way.
Yeah. In a Mark Gatiss written episode.
Mark Gatiss.
I'll see if you change your tune when you've watched it. Well,
oh no.
It's one of the most panned episodes in the modern era.
No.
Even though, slight spoiler alert, I quite like it. Okay. There's like
you like it because Reese is in it.
No, there's 2 massive flaws in it. But apart from those flaws, I like what it does. Anyway, Karen.
I'm distracted now because I'm thinking of the League of Gentlemen now. What were we talking about?
You weren't a big fan of this?
No, I feel...
Would you say it's the worst Christmas special so far?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What, even up against the Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe?
Yeah, because at least that was Christmassy.
Was it?
Yeah.
Acid rain on a snow planet, a misuse of Bill Bailey. And don't worry, I'll just bring your father back from the dead.
Oh, yeah. No, okay, that was... yeah, that was worse. That was a lot worse. I was just thinking of the tree people, but...
You didn't even put lights on them. What a crime.
Outrageous. I don't know. I think
well, it's Mike and General's Day.
If you took Father Christmas out of it, it's not really very Christmassy, is it?
No, but I kind of think that's what it was aiming for.
I know, but why?
I think it was aiming for just
why
like...
make a Christmas special?
He's the odd one out. That's kind of the point, really. It's like... And that's the clue that, no, this is actually taking place at Christmas. You all just don't know it because you think you're at a research base.
Weird. I just thought it was weird and boring and just not out of place, but it was almost as if it was one of those episodes mid-series that's a bit like,
So
it didn't feel like a very special to me.
So if I said to you, where did your hatred for Last Christmas, the Doctor Who Christmas special, begin? You'd say, it's a long story.
No, it's not, because
Yeah, there was a reference to that.
Yeah.
That was creepy. When they pick up on it.
Yeah, I guess if that happened in real life, that would be creepy.
Yeah. Hey, what about you guys? We're split on this. What about you? What do you think? Last Christmas. Good, bad, indifferent? Did you give it your heart?
Good, bad, ugly?
Is it better than that fucking awful Emilia Clarke Christmas movie? She's in Game of Thrones.
What's that one?
There's the one called Last Christmas. I won't explain it there in case people don't want it spoiled, but it's an M. Night Shyamalan level of Christmas movie.
Oh no, I can't remember.
I'm going to go now.
We can take Christmas down now.
We can. Well, not till you get a day off work in a couple of days, because I'll need help putting it in the loft.
Yes.
Yeah. But we'll be back soon with our video talking about, I can never remember the order, Magician's Apprentice, Witch's Familiar. Great titles, right?
Mm.
You don't know what those ones are about, do you? It's going to be interesting. Under the Lake and Before the Flood. But until then, this is Chris.
And not Chris.
And Game of Thrones Maisie Williams saying...
Signing out.
Bye.
Bye.
Game of Thrones.
Bye.
Game of Thrones.